Hello students, today we will be learning the last part of the third chapter, that is angiosperms. Angiosperms are called as flowering plants. All the plants which produce flowers, they are generally called as angiosperms. So what are flowers? Flowers are reproductive part of the plant. Flowers are nothing but reproductive part of the plant. So all flowering plants, the plants which produce flower, they are generally called as angiosperms. This is the last step of evolution. First one is algae, second one bryophyte, third one is pteridophyte, fourth one is gymnosperms. After gymnosperms, the next step of evolution is angiosperms. So they are commonly called as flowering plants. So here the pollen grains and ovules are developed in specialized structure called flowers. What are pollen grain? Pollen grain are male gametes and ovules are female gametes. They are developed in specialized structure called as flower. So flower is the reproductive organ of a plant where both sex organ male and female organs are present inside the flower. Okay. Next special feature is in angiosperms the seeds are covered by fruits. As you saw in gymnosperms, the seeds are naked, they are not covered by fruits, whereas in angiosperms the seeds are covered by fruit. They are large plant occurring in wide range of habitat. They are large group of plants occurring in wide range of habitat. The number of angiosperms is more compared to any other plants in the world. The number of flowering plants are more compared to any other plants. So they are spread over large wide range of habitat. For example, in a forest, if there are 100 plants, 90% of the plants are angiosperms. Like that. They range in size from tiny to large. From large trees to tiny plants, there are angiosperms. They are flowering plants. Uses, they provide us with food, shelter, fuel, medicine, etc. Angiosperm provide us food, shelter, fuel, medicine, etc. So, angiosperms are mainly divided into two classes. That is, one is monocotyledon and second one is dicotyledon. Monocotyledon means one cotyledon, ekadala. Dicotyledon means two cotyledon, dvidala. Ekadala mattu dvidala. So this is about angiosperms. Coming to the important part, that is the life cycle of an angiosperm. 5-mark question with this diagram. You have to draw this diagram in your notebook. Life cycle of an angiosperm. 5-mark question with the diagram. This diagram is important. You have to draw this diagram in your notebook. Life cycle of an angiosperm. So coming to the life cycle, the male sex organ in a flower is the stamen, and each stamen consists of anther and filament. If you see the diagram, you can see the stamen here, anther and filament. See first one, anther and filament, the green color one. So the male sex organ in the flower is the stamen. Stamen is divided into two parts. It consists of two parts, a thin filament, slender filament, and anther at the tip. You can see the first diagram, the first one here, anther, a bilobed structure, two-lobed structure called as anther, and a stem-like structure called as filament. Okay. This anther will undergo meiotic cell division and produce pollen grain. You have studied in gymnosperms. This that will be having microsporangium. Microsporangium will undergo meiotic cell division and develop the male gamete that is called as pollen grain. See, you can see anther and filament form microsporangium. Microsporangium will form microspore, that means it will undergo meiotic cell division and form the pollen grain. Male gamete is formed. So male sex organ is called as stamen. Stamen consists of a filament and an anther. The anther will undergo meiotic cell division and produce pollen grain. Next, coming to female sex organ. Again you can see female sex organ is divided into three parts. It is called as pistil. The female sex organ in the flower is called as pistil or carpel. Pistil consists of three parts: stigma, style and ovary. You can see it in the diagram. Stigma, style and ovary. Next to anther and filament you can see stigma, style and ovary. So the female sex organ in the flower is called as pistil. It consists of stigma, style and ovary. This ovary covers one or more number of ovules. Ovary is a bulged part which covers one or more number of ovules. Within ovules, highly reduced female gametophyte is present and they are called as embryo sac. Within ovule, highly reduced female gametophyte is present which is called as embryo sac. Okay, female sex organ is called as pistil. Pistil consists of style, stigma and ovary. Ovary consists of one to many ovules. Within ovules, reduced female gametophyte is present which is called as embryo sac. Embryo sac is haploid cell. It will undergo meiotic division. Embryo sac will undergo meiotic division. Embryo sac formation is done by meiotic division. See, ovary consists of ovules. They are present in the megaspore mother cell. Megaspore mother cell will undergo meiotic division. It will form 4 megaspores. Out of that, one megaspore is functional and that one megaspore is functional and that will form the embryo sac which is drawn here. That red and pink color is the embryo sac. Red and pink color is the embryo sac. I hope you understood. The male sex organ is stamen, divided into two parts, anther and filament. The microsporangium will undergo meiotic division and form the pollen grain. So male gamete is formed there. Next, coming to the female sex organ. Female sex organ is called as pistil. Divided into three parts: stigma, style and ovary. Ovary consists of one or more number of ovules depending upon the flowering plant. These ovules form a female gametophyte called as embryo sac. So how it is formed? The ovules under megaspore mother cell will undergo meiotic division. Out of that, 4 megaspores are found. Out of 4 megaspores, 3 are degenerate. They doesn't have any function. Only one is functional. That one megaspore will form the embryo sac. The red and pink color, what you can see is the embryo sac. Now coming to the structure of embryo sac, what does embryo sac consist of? Embryo sac has three-celled egg apparatus. Three-celled egg apparatus. In that, one egg cell, 2 synergids and 3 antipodal cell and 2 polar nuclei are present. Coming to the structure of embryo sac, it has 3-celled egg apparatus. In that particular embryo sac, 1 egg cell, 2 synergids, 3 antipodal cell and 2 polar nuclei are present. 3-celled egg apparatus, 1 egg cell, 2 synergids, 3 antipodal cell and 2 polar nuclei present. See that red color? In that red color you will be having 3 antipodal cells. And they doesn't have any function, they degenerate. Then in the center, that pink color center, you will be having 2 polar nuclei. And at the base, you will be having 2 synergids, which is like your finger-like structure, 2 synergids and 1 egg cell. Red color you will be having 3 antipodal cells. In the center you will be having 2 polar nuclei. And at the base you will be having 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. This is the structure of embryo sac. I hope you understood. Male sex organ is pistil. Consists of stigma, style and ovary. Ovary consists of ovule. Megaspore mother cell undergo meiotic cell division and form the embryo sac. Embryo sac consists of 3-celled egg apparatus, that in that 1 egg cell, 2 synergids, 3 antipodal cell and 2 polar nuclei are present. Okay. Coming to the reproduction. How do reproduction take place in angiosperm? I said reproductive part of the flower is the reproductive organ of an angiosperm plant. I said you about the male sex organ. Male sex organ is stamen, which will release pollen grain. Female sex organ is the pistil, which will release the ovule and the embryo sac. So how do reproduction take place? Steps of reproduction. Pollen grains, after released from the anther, are carried by the wind or by various other agencies to the stigma of the pistil. This is the first step. Pollen grains. I said anther. Stamen is the male sex organ, which is divided into anther and filament. Anther will undergo meiotic cell division and release pollen grain. Once pollen grains are released, they are carried either through wind or other agent, either through biotic or abiotic agent. Wind or water, either through that, otherwise by animals or bees. Abiotic is wind and water, biotic agent means animals, bumblebees. Bumblebees are main agent who undergo pollination, who carry the pollen grain to the flower. You have seen honeybees, bumblebees. So, pollen grains are either carried by the biotic agents and abiotic agents. Bumblebees, honeybee, jenu nona. Okay, they are the main agents of pollination. You know, ಅದು ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲವರಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಫ್ಲವರಿಗೆ ಹಾರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ನೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. The bees will travel from one flower to another flower to collect the nectar. So they are the main agents of pollination taking place in plant. Pollination, and I will say this pollen grains are either carried by the wind or water or by the biotic agent. Different animals, those who come in search of nectar with flowers, bumblebees, different type of butterflies, different animals, beetle. These all are pollinating agents. They carry the pollen grain and transfer the pollen grain to the stigma of the pistil. I said pistil consists of 3 parts: stigma, style and ovary. Reproduction. Pollen grains from the anther are dispersed and are carried by either wind or other biotic or abiotic agents and deposit upon the first part, stigma of the pistil. And this process is called as pollination. This process is called as pollination. See, for example, when bees, bumblebees, jennona, nectar ಹುಡುಕುವಾಗ ಬರುವಾಗ, when it will come in search of nectar, what does flower do? Flower will give nectar to the bees. In turn, the bees, in turn, along with the nectar, the pollen grains are sticked to the body of this particular insect. Understood? It is also some type of giving bribe. It will attract the animals by providing nectar or by looking beautiful colors. The animals will be attracted. When they are attracted, the flower will slowly release its pollen grains, and that pollen grain will go and get stick to the body of that particular animal. So when these particular animal or insect will come to another flower, pollination will take place. The pollen grain will go and get deposited upon the stigma of the pistil. This process is called as pollination. That is transfer of pollen grains to the stigma is called as pollination. So pollen grains are carried either by biotic or abiotic agent and deposited on the stigma of the pistil. This process is called as pollination. Then what happens? The pollen grains germinate on the stigma and develop into pollen tubes. In gymnosperms also I said the pollen grains will germinate on the stigma and form a tube-like structure called as pollen tubes, and these pollen tubes grow in the style and reach the ovary and travel inside the ovule. Inside the ovule you will be having embryo sac. It will go and reach the embryo sac where the male gametes are released. Understood? Pollen grains are deposited upon the stigma. They germinate upon the stigma. Moleke uditade. Develop pollen tube. Pollen tube will travel through style, ovary, ovule and reach the embryo sac. The male gametes from the pollen tube are released inside the embryo sac. Pollen grain germinate on stigma, pollen tubes are produced, grows in stigma and style and reach ovary. Pollen tube release male gametes in the embryo sac. Two male gametes are released by the pollen tubes. See here, you can see this diagram here. Male gametophyte. This pink color, near to red and pink color, you can see one pink color tube. Male gametophyte. Pollen tube is carrying two male gamete which will enter the embryo sac. You can see here down base. One particular tube, male gametophyte carrying two male gamete reaching the embryo sac. Now what happens in the embryo sac? I said two male gametes will reach the embryo sac. Out of that, one of the male gamete fuses with the egg cell to form a zygote. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg cell to form a zygote. Where is the egg cell present? Inside the embryo sac. I said embryo sac consists of 3 antipodal cells, 2 polar nuclei, 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. Okay, the synergids will be having finger-like projections which will allow the male gamete to enter inside the egg cell. So, from the pollen tube, male gametes are released and transferred into the embryo sac. Out of the 2 male gametes, one of the male gamete will enter inside the embryo sac. One of the male gamete will enter inside the embryo sac and reach the egg. The male gamete fuses with the egg. The male gamete fuses with the egg, that is fertilization takes place. One of the male gamete enters the egg, fuses with the egg to form a zygote. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg. See here, egg. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg to form a zygote, and this process is called as syngamy or fertilization. This process is called as syngamy. The fusion of male gamete with the egg is called as, the fusion of male gamete with the egg to form a zygote is called as syngamy. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. It is not EFF, it is egg, E-double-G. Okay. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg to form a zygote. That process is called as syngamy, or commonly we call it as fertilization. Okay, this is one step. Second step, I said 2 male gametes are released. One male gamete will fuse with the egg and form a zygote. Second step, the second male gamete will fuse with the diploid polar nucleus. I said in the center you will be having two polar nuclei. Diploid polar nucleus. One of the male gamete will fuse with the egg and form zygote. The second male gamete will fuse with the diploid nucleus and form triploid primary endosperm nucleus, PEN. Triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Understood? Two male gametes are released by the pollen grain in the pollen tube. Out of that, one pollen grain will reach the egg inside the embryo sac. Fusion will take place to form a zygote. That process is called a syngamy. The other male gamete will fuse with the diploid nucleus present at the center of the embryo sac and form triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Triploid means 3. Triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Okay, now since 2 times fertilization take place, one is one male gamete fuses with the egg cell, one fertilization. Second one is other male gamete fuses with 2 nucleus, that is second fertilization. Since 2 times fusion take place, this fusion is called as double fertilization. Because of the involvement of 2 fusion, it is called as double fertilization. I hope you understood. One male gamete will reach the egg and form the zygote. The second male gamete will reach the polar nucleus. There are 2. 2 means one more male gamete will come and join. It will become 3. So triploid primary endosperm nucleus take place. So 2 times male gamete fuses with 2. One it will fuse with egg, second one it will fuse with the polar nucleus. So 2 times fusion take place. It is called as double fertilization. The process is called as double fertilization. I hope you understood. Okay, male gametes are released by the pollen grain. 2 male gametes are released by the pollen grain. One male gamete will reach the egg inside the embryo sac, fuse and form the zygote. The second gamete will go and fuse with the polar nuclei, forming triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Since 2 times fusion take place, it is called as double fertilization. Now what happens? This zygote will later develop into embryo, and embryo will develop into a plant. Embryo will develop into 2-cotyledon plant. What happens? What is the function of PEN, primary endosperm nucleus? Primary endosperm nucleus will provide nourishment to the development embryo. PEN, primary endosperm nucleus, triploid primary endosperm nucleus, provide nourishment to the developing embryo. See, zygote will develop into embryo. Embryo andre magu. A magu ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಆಗೋ ತನಕ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಹಾರ ಬೇಕು. that food is supplied by the primary endosperm nucleus. For example, I can give you the example of bonda, coconut. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾವೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. That ಬಾವೆ is called as the endosperm. You might have seen when that coconut tree comes up, germinate, ಅದರೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ ಕೂಡ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಬಾವೆ ಆ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಆ ಕೊಕೊನೆಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಆಹಾರವನ್ನು ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. Now see, for example, a mother and the baby. When the baby is inside the uterus, inside the womb of the mother, who will provide the food for the baby? The mother will, whatever mother eats, that food is supplied to the baby. Same way, ಈ ಝೈಗೋಟ್ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಆಗುವಾಗ, ಆ ಸೀಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಹಾರ ಬೇಕು. that ಆಹಾರ is supplied by the primary endosperm nucleus. ಬೊಂಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಬಾವೆ ಆಹಾರವಾಗಿ ಆ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಜರ್ಮಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ, ಮೊಳಕೆ ಹೊಡೆದು ಅದು ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ಆ ಬಾವೆ ಕೂಡ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಂದು ನಾಶ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ಸೊ zygote will develop into embryo. When that embryo develops inside the seed, the nourishment, the food is provided by the primary endosperm nucleus. Then I said there are 3 antipodal cells present, red color. They will degenerate after fertilization. They doesn't have any function. ಅದು ನಶಿಸಿ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. That means it will be destroyed after fertilization. So then ovules develop into seed and ovaries develop into fruit. Later ovules develop into seed and ovary develops into fruit. This is the life cycle of angiosperm. To mention about male sex organ, female sex organ, and their fertilization process. Okay. Next, coming to the last part, alternation of generation, plant life cycle, alternation of generation. You have studied in bryophytes, sporophytic plant bodies converted into gametophyte, gametophytic plant bodies converted into sporophytes. You have studied till now, right? In bryophytes, what is the plant body in bryophyte? In bryophyte, the plant body is gametophyte, later getting converted into sporophyte. In pteridophytes, the plant body is sporophyte, later getting converted into gametophytes. So these alternation of generation you have already studied in the plant kingdom, right? Now to understand what is alternation of generation, plant life cycle and alternation of generation, there are different plant groups will be having different alternation of generation. There are three life cycle. One is haplontic, second one is diplontic, third one is haplodiplontic. See, these three are very important and diagrams are also very important. These three diagrams you have to draw in your notes book. They will come as 2-mark question, either distinguish between haplontic, diplontic, haplodiplontic or haplontic, diplontic or haplontic, anything can be asked. You have to explain with the help of diagram, 2-mark question. There are 3 types, haplontic, diplontic and haplodiplontic. Plant life cycle and alternation of generation. So first one will come for haplontic life cycle. Haplontic. What is haplontic life cycle? As explained in the diagram. In the haplontic life cycle, first one is the sporophytic generation represented only by one cell zygote. Okay, haplontic life cycle is the sporophytic generation. It's represented by one cell zygote. You can see the zygote in that blue color. First one is zygote. So there are no free living sporocyte. Meiosis in the zygote result in the formation of haploid spores. Zygote will undergo meiotic division and form the haploid spores. Then these haploid spores divide mitotically and form the gametophyte. See the diagram. In the diagram you can understand what is haplontic life cycle. There will be a sporophytic, this is represented by sporophytic generation by one cell zygote. This one cell zygote will undergo meiotic division and result in the formation of haploid spores. Haploid spores divide mitotically. See, zygote will undergo meiotic division to form haploid n number of spores. 2n will form n number of spores. These spores will undergo mitotic division. Why? Mitotic is equational division. We require a haploid body, haplontic life cycle. Diploid zygote, 2n zygote will undergo reductional division and form haploid spore, n number of spores. So n number of spore will undergo mitotic division, equal division to form n number of gametophyte. Now, the dominant photosynthetic phase in such plant is the free living gametophyte. This kind of life cycle is called as haplontic life cycle. So zygote will undergo meiotic division, form the spores. Spores will undergo mitotic division and form the gametophyte. Male and female gamete is released. That process is gametogenesis. They undergo syngamy, that is fertilization. Male gamete fuse with the female gamete. That process is called as syngamy or fertilization. Again form the diploid zygote and the cycle continues. This is the haplontic life cycle. The plant body is sporophyte, so it will release diploid zygote, undergo meiotic division, form haploid spores. Haploid spores will undergo mitotic division, form the gametophyte. Gametophyte will release male and female gamete. That process is called as gametogenesis. They fuse, they come in contact with each other. That process is called as syngamy or fertilization, which result in diploid zygote. The cycle continues. This is the haplontic life cycle. So example is volvox, spirogyra, some species of Chlamydomonas. I have already shown the picture in the algae. Okay, so these volvox, Chlamydomonas, they undergo these type of life cycle, haplontic life cycle. Second one is diplontic life cycle. Here, you know, in diplontic life cycle, sporophyte is the plant body. Diploid sporophyte is the dominant photosynthetic independent phase of the plant. Sporophyte is the plant body in the diplontic life cycle, that is in gymnosperm and angiosperm. What happens? This sporophytic plant body, the gametophytic phase is represented by single to few celled haploid gametophyte. This sporophytic plant body get converted into gametophyte. That gametophyte phase is represented by single or few celled gametophyte. They release by meiotic division single or few celled gametophyte. Then male and female gamete fuse together, forms undergo fertilization or otherwise called as syngamy. Again fusion takes place, diploid zygote is produced, the cycle continues. Here diplontic life cycle, sporophytic plant body get converted into gametophytic plant body, undergo meiosis, form male and female sex organ, they fuse together, process is called as syngamy or fertilization, diploid zygote is formed and the cycle continues. So this is called as diplontic life cycle. All seed bearing plants exhibit diplontic life cycle, that is gymnosperm and angiosperm. Coming to haplodiplontic, the last one, third one. These bryophytes and pteridophytes interestingly exhibit the intermediate condition, neither haplontic nor diplontic. They are in between, haplodiplontic. Example who exhibit a haplodiplontic condition is bryophytes and pteridophytes. Okay, they are neither haplontic nor diplontic. They are intermediate, haplontic and diplontic, because bryophytes and pteridophytes exhibit two type of plant bodies, sporophyte and gametophyte. Understood? They exhibit two type of plant body, that is sporophyte and gametophyte. So they are neither haplontic nor diplontic. They are haplodiplontic. For example, if I come to bryophytes, a dominant independent photosynthetic thalloid is represented by haploid gametophyte. Then it will get converted into sporophyte. You have studied, no? In bryophyte, there will be gametophytic plant body. Later it get converted into sporophytic plant body. If I come to pteridophyte, there will be sporophytic plant body. Later it get converted into gametophytic plant body. You can see in the cycle, there are sporophytic plant body as well as gametophytic plant body. So it is neither haplontic nor diplontic. It exhibits both haplontic and diplontic. So it is called as haplodiplontic life cycle, and this is exhibited by bryophytes and pteridophytes. These are the plant life cycle which shows alternation of generation. There are three types: haplontic, example volvox and spirogyra; diplontic, gymnosperm and angiosperm; haplodiplontic, bryophytes and pteridophytes. Important question for 2 marks. You have to draw the diagram. I hope you understood three types of life cycle. Thank you.